The old train station sits quietly at the edge of town, wrapped in the soft amber glow of evening. You've walked this path 1,000 times before, your feet knowing every crack in the sidewalk, every gentle slope that leads down to the platform. The air is cool and gentle against your skin, carrying with it the faint scent of diesel and distant wood smoke, mingling with the sweet perfume of honeysuckle that grows wild along the fence. Above you, the sky deepens from pale blue to violet, and the first stars are beginning to appear, tiny pinpricks of light that seem to pulse with a rhythm all their own. You can hear the crickets starting their evening song, a chorus that rises and falls like breathing, like waves, like the most natural lullaby in the world. The station building itself is a relic from another time, built of warm red brick that has weathered to a soft rose color over the decades. Its windows glow with a honey-colored light that spills out onto the platform, creating pools of warmth in the gathering dusk. Someone inside has left the radio playing quietly, and you can just barely hear the sound of old jazz drifting through the evening air, notes that seem to float and dance like fireflies. You push through the heavy wooden door, and it swings open with a familiar creak that sounds almost like a greeting. Inside, the waiting room is exactly as you remember it. Wooden benches worn smooth by generations of travelers, their surfaces polished to a soft sheen by countless hands and coats. The ceiling is high, crossed with dark beams, and from it hangs a series of old brass fixtures that cast a gentle, diffused light throughout the space. Behind the ticket counter, Mr. Henderson looks up from his newspaper and smiles. He's been the station master here for as long as anyone can remember, a fixture as permanent as the building itself. His face is kind and weathered, creased with the sort of lines that come from a lifetime of smiling. His uniform is always impeccably pressed, the brass buttons gleaming even in the low light. "Evening," he says, his voice as warm and comfortable as an old cardigan. "Train'll be along shortly, right on time, as always." You nod, feeling the tension of the day beginning to slip from your shoulders like a coat sliding to the floor. There's something about this place, something about the ritual of waiting for the train that makes everything else seem very far away. The worries and hurries of daily life cannot quite penetrate these walls. They wait outside, patient but forgotten, while you exist in this pocket of peace. The clock on the wall ticks steadily, a reassuring metronome that marks time in its own unhurried way. It's an old clock with a round face and Roman numerals, and its hands move with a visible click each minute. You've always loved that clock, loved the way it refuses to rush, the way it reminds you that time is something to be measured, not feared. You settle onto one of the benches and it receives you like an old friend. The wood is smooth and cool beneath you, and you let your bag rest on the floor beside your feet. Through the tall windows, you can see the platform stretching out into the evening, the rails gleaming like silver ribbons in the fading light. A few other passengers are scattered about. A woman reading a book, a young man with headphones, an elderly couple sitting close together, their hands intertwined. Everyone here seems to carry the same quality of peaceful patience, as if the very act of waiting for this train has cast a spell of tranquility over them all. No one checks their phone anxiously or paces with impatience. They simply exist in this moment, suspended between wherever they came from and wherever they're going, content to let time flow around them like a gentle stream. The air inside the station is warm and smells faintly of coffee and old paper, with a hint of the lemon oil used to polish the wooden surfaces. It's a smell that triggers something deep in your memory, something primal and comforting, like coming home after a long journey. Your muscles begin to relax, your breathing deepens, and you feel your eyelids growing pleasantly heavy. Outside, the sky continues its slow transformation, the violet deepening to indigo, then to the rich navy blue of true evening. The stars multiply, spreading across the heavens like diamond dust scattered on velvet. A half-moon rises slowly, its face serene and ancient, casting its silver light across the world below. You hear it before you see it, the distant sound of the train whistle, long and low and mournful in the most beautiful way. It's a sound that speaks of journeys and homecomings, of distance traveled and distance yet to go. It echoes across the hills and through the valleys, announcing the train's approach to anyone who cares to listen. Mr. Henderson stands up, folding his newspaper with careful precision. "That'll be the 8:47 to Meadowbrook," he announces, though everyone already knows. It's always the 8:47 to Meadowbrook. It's been the 8:47 to Meadowbrook for as long as anyone can remember, and it will be the 8:47 to Meadowbrook for as long as trains run on these rails. The other passengers begin to gather their things, moving with the same unhurried grace that permeates everything in this place. They rise from their seats like flowers turning toward the sun, drawn by the promise of the journey ahead. You stand as well, feeling lighter somehow, as if the simple act of waiting has unburdened you of weight you didn't know you were carrying. Through the windows, you can see the train now, its headlight cutting through the darkness like a beacon. It approaches steadily, neither rushing nor dawdling, moving with the inevitability of the tide. The sound of its wheels on the rails grows louder, a rhythmic clicking that seems to say, "Come along, come along, come along." The train pulls into the station with a great sigh of steam and a gentle squeal of brakes, as if it too is relieved to rest for a moment after its long journey. It's a beautiful train, painted in deep green with gold trim, every surface gleaming with care and pride. The windows glow warmly from within, promising comfort and safety for all who board. Mr. Henderson opens the station door and steps out onto the platform, and you follow with the other passengers. The evening air is cooler now, crisp and fresh, filling your lungs with its purity. The train sits before you like a patient animal, breathing softly, waiting to carry you onward. A conductor steps down from the nearest car, a woman with silver hair pinned neatly beneath her cap. Her smile is genuine and welcoming, and she offers her hand to help each passenger aboard. When you reach her, she looks into your eyes and says, "Welcome aboard. We'll have you in Meadowbrook before you know it." You climb the steps. They're steep but solid, and there's a good handrail, and step into the train car. The interior takes your breath away, even though you've seen it many times before. It's like stepping into a dream of how trains should be, warm and elegant and comfortable beyond measure. The train car stretches before you like a corridor in a palace, though infinitely cozier and more inviting. The ceiling is curved, paneled in rich mahogany that glows in the light from the brass fixtures mounted at intervals along its length. The fixtures themselves are small masterpieces, each one shaped like a lily, their glass shades casting pools of warm, golden light. The floor beneath your feet is covered in a thick carpet, its pattern an intricate weaving of deep blues and greens and golds, like a forest seen from high above. It muffles your footsteps, creating an atmosphere of hushed serenity. The walls are paneled in the same warm wood as the ceiling, and between the windows hang small landscape paintings, pastoral scenes of rolling hills, quiet streams, and distant mountains, each one a tiny window into tranquility. The seats are arranged in pairs facing forward, each one upholstered in soft, deep blue velvet that looks like it would embrace you the moment you sat down. The arms are wooden, carved with subtle decorative details and polished to a high sheen. Above each row of seats, small brass luggage racks wait to receive bags and coats, and between each pair of seats is a small table that folds down from the wall, perfect for a book or a cup of tea. You make your way down the aisle slowly, taking in every detail. Other passengers are already settling into their seats, removing their shoes, adjusting pillows, pulling light blankets from the overhead compartments. Everyone seems to understand instinctively that this is a journey for rest, for letting go, for surrendering to the gentle, rocking motion of the train as it carries you through the night. The windows are large and perfectly clean, offering an unobstructed view of the platform outside and the darkening world beyond. They're framed with curtains of heavy cream-colored fabric, tied back now, but available to be drawn if you prefer complete privacy and darkness. You find your seat about halfway down the car, on the right side, by the window. It's perfect. You've always loved window seats, loved the way you can rest your head against the cool glass and watch the world slide by. Loved the feeling of being both participant and observer in your own journey. You settle into the seat, and it's even more comfortable than it looked. The velvet is soft and slightly cool against your skin, but you know it will warm to your body temperature quickly. The cushion beneath you seems to mold itself to your shape, providing support exactly where you need it. You let out a long, slow breath, feeling your entire body sink deeper into relaxation. Your bag fits perfectly in the space at your feet, and you remove your shoes, letting your feet rest flat on the carpet. The simple act of removing your shoes feels like shedding a burden, like permission to fully relax. You wiggle your toes, feeling the plush carpet beneath them, and a small smile crosses your face. Across the aisle, an older woman catches your eye and nods in that universal gesture of friendly acknowledgement. She's wearing a soft lavender cardigan and has a book open in her lap, though her eyes are already heavy-lidded with approaching sleep. 2 rows ahead, a young man reclines in his seat, a pair of noise-canceling headphones around his neck, his face peaceful as he gazes out the window. The train car is filling up now, but never feels crowded. There's something about the space, the way it's designed, that makes it feel both intimate and expansive at once. The murmur of quiet conversations, the rustle of settling passengers, the soft sounds of bags being stowed, all of it blends into a symphony of preparation, of anticipation for the journey ahead. A porter makes his way down the aisle, an older gentleman with a kind face and a quiet demeanor. He pushes a small cart laden with blankets, pillows, and other comforts. When he reaches your row, he pauses and asks softly, "Would you care for anything? A pillow, perhaps? An extra blanket?" You accept both gratefully, The pillow is filled with down, impossibly soft, covered in crisp white cotton. The blanket is woven from the finest wool, light but warm, in a shade of deep midnight blue. You arrange the pillow in the corner where the seat meets the wall, creating the perfect nest for your head, and you drape the blanket across your lap. There's tea and water in the dining car if you need it, the porter adds, his voice barely above a whisper. And we'll be dimming the lights in about 10 minutes, once we're underway. Sleep well, you thank him, and he moves on to the next passenger, offering the same quiet care to each person in the car. There's something deeply comforting about his presence, about knowing that someone is watching over this journey, ensuring that everyone is comfortable and safe. The conductor, the silver-haired woman from the platform, appears at the front of the car. She doesn't raise her voice, but somehow everyone hears her clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the 847 to Meadowbrook. We'll be departing shortly. Please make yourselves comfortable. The journey will take us through the night, and we invite you to rest as we travel. The dining car is open for another hour if you need refreshment, and please don't hesitate to call if you need anything at all. Thank you for traveling with us. She touches her cap in a small salute and moves on to the next car, her footsteps silent on the carpeted floor. You adjust your position slightly, finding the perfect angle against your pillow, and pull the blanket higher. Through the window, you can see Mr. Henderson on the platform, checking his pocket watch and nodding with satisfaction. The station looks even more beautiful now, lit from within against the darkness of the night, like something from a painting or a particularly vivid dream. The train gives a gentle lurch, so subtle you almost don't notice it, and then you feel it, the slow, steady acceleration as the train begins to move. There's no harsh jolt, no sudden movement, just a smooth transition from stillness to motion, as natural as breathing. The station begins to slide past your window, first slowly, then with increasing speed. You watch as the platform glides by, as Mr. Henderson raises his hand in farewell, as the warm lights of the station building give way to the darkness of the night beyond. The wheels beneath you find their rhythm on the rails. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. A hypnotic pattern that resonates through the entire car, through your seat, through your body. It's a sound as old as trains themselves, a sound that has lulled countless travelers into peaceful sleep, and it works its magic on you now. The lights in the car begin to dim, just as the porter promised. They don't go out completely. There's still enough light to see if you need to move about. But they soften to a warm glow, like candlelight, like starlight, like the gentle light of dreams. Around you, other passengers are settling into sleep. You can hear the soft rustle of blankets being adjusted, the quiet sighs of people surrendering to rest. The young man with the headphones has reclined his seat fully and is already breathing deeply, his chest rising and falling with the steady rhythm of sleep. The woman across the aisle has closed her book and let her head fall back against her seat, her face peaceful in repose. You turn your attention to the window, to the world sliding by outside. The station is long behind you now, and the train has entered the countryside. You can see the dark shapes of trees against the slightly lighter sky, the occasional glimmer of a distant light from a farmhouse or a car on a lonely road. The moon hangs above it all, constant and serene, casting its silver benediction over the sleeping world. The rocking of the train is gentle but persistent, a swaying motion that seems perfectly calculated to induce relaxation. Side to side, forward and back, a cradle's motion, a mother's arms, the oldest comfort known to humanity. Your body responds instinctively, your muscles letting go of tension you didn't know they held, your breathing slowing and deepening to match the rhythm of the rails. You close your eyes for a moment, just to rest them, and the darkness behind your eyelids is soft and welcoming. The sounds of the train, the clicking of the wheels, the gentle creaking of the car as it sways, the whisper of air moving past the windows, all blend into a lullaby without words, a song sung by motion and machine and night itself. When you open your eyes again, you're not sure if seconds or minutes have passed, and it doesn't matter. Time has become fluid here, elastic, something that stretches and compresses according to its own mysterious rules. All that matters is the journey, the motion, the gentle progression through the darkness toward whatever destination awaits. The train moves steadily through the night, and you've fallen into a state that's neither quite waking nor sleeping. A liminal space where thoughts drift by like clouds and nothing requires your attention or concern. The clickety-clack of the wheels has become the baseline of your existence, the rhythm around which everything else arranges itself. Through the window, the landscape continues to unfold in an endless parade of gentle shadows. The train has left the last vestiges of town behind and is now traveling through open country, through farmland and forest, through the vast and quiet spaces between human settlements. Every now and then, the train passes through a small town or village. You watch them slide by with a dreamy fascination. A main street with a single traffic light swaying in the breeze, a church steeple pointing toward the stars, houses with warm lights in their windows suggesting dinner's being finished, and children being tucked into bed. These towns appear and disappear like scenes from a magic lantern show, each one a tiny story that you observe but do not enter. The train crosses a bridge, and for a moment you can see the river below, its surface catching the moonlight and holding it, a ribbon of liquid silver winding through the darkness. The sound of the wheels changes slightly on the bridge, becomes more resonant, more musical, and then returns to its steady rhythm as the train reaches solid ground once more. In the seat next to you, a young woman has arranged herself for sleep. She's curled up like a cat, her knees drawn up, her head resting on a pillow propped against the window. Her face in sleep looks utterly peaceful, free from the cares and concerns that furrow it during waking hours. There's something beautiful about seeing someone sleeping, something that reminds you of shared humanity, of vulnerability, of trust. The train car has become a sanctuary of rest. The dimmed lights create pools of shadow and gold, and the passengers exist in their own private worlds of dreams and drowsing. The air has warmed from the heat of bodies and breath, creating a comfortable cocoon that wraps around everyone like an embrace. You adjust your blanket, pulling it higher, and turn your body slightly so you can rest more fully against the pillow wedged in the corner. The position is perfect, allowing you to see out the window while providing complete support for your head and neck. You feel cradled, supported, safe. The porter passes through again. His footsteps whisper soft on the carpet. He's dimmed his cart's light to almost nothing, just a tiny glow that allows him to navigate without disturbing sleepers. He pauses at each row, checking with a glance to ensure that everyone is comfortable, that no one needs anything. When he reaches you, his eyes meet yours for a moment, and he nods, a gesture that conveys warmth, care, and the assurance that you are watched over. Then he moves on, a guardian angel in a uniform, making his rounds through this sleeping car. Outside, the moon has climbed higher in the sky. It's a waxing moon, not quite full, but bright enough to cast shadows, to silver the edges of clouds, to turn the world into something ethereal and magical. By its light, you can see more detail in the landscape, the texture of tree bark, the contours of rolling hills, the geometry of fence lines dividing fields. The train begins a gentle climb, ascending into higher country. You can feel the grade, feel the train working slightly harder, hear the engine's note change subtly. But there's no strain, no struggle, just steady progress upward. The trees outside grow denser, and you realize you're entering the foothills, beginning the long ascent through the mountains that separate this part of the world from Meadowbrook. As the train climbs, the air grows cooler, and you appreciate the warmth of your blanket even more. You pull it closer, tucking it around yourself, creating a personal cocoon of comfort. Your eyelids are growing heavier with each passing moment. Each gentle sway of the car, each repetition of that eternal rhythm. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. You think about Meadowbrook, though your thoughts are hazy and dreamlike now. You've been there before, or perhaps you've only dreamed of it. It's a place of peace, you know that much. A place where time moves slowly and worries dissolve like mist in morning sun. A place where everyone is welcome, where rest is not just permitted, but encouraged, where the whole world seems softer and kinder. The train rounds a curve, and through the window you catch a glimpse of the engine far ahead, its light cutting through the darkness, leading the way. There's something reassuring about seeing that, knowing that someone is up there, alert and watchful, guiding this whole enterprise through the night, ensuring that you and all your fellow travelers arrive safely at your destination. The curve straightens out, and the view from your window is once again of the landscape sliding by. The trees here are taller, their trunks thick and solid, their canopies forming a dark ceiling overhead. The train is traveling through a forest now, an ancient forest by the look of it, and you can almost smell the pine and cedar, the rich loam of the forest floor, the clean scent of growing things. Occasionally, between the trees, you glimpse a clearing bathed in moonlight, or a stream catching the light and holding it for a moment before disappearing back into shadow. Each glimpse is like a gift, a small, perfect moment offered and then withdrawn, leaving you with just the memory and the anticipation of the next one. Your breathing has synchronized with the motion of the train, deep and slow and regular. Each breath in fills you with calm. Each breath out releases tension and thought and concern. You feel suspended in time, floating in a space where past and future have no meaning, where only this moment exists. This warm, comfortable, safe moment of traveling through the night. The dining car, the porter mentioned, is still open. For a moment, you consider getting up, walking through the swaying cars to see what might be available there. But the thought dissolves almost as soon as it forms. You are too comfortable, too relaxed, too deeply settled into this perfect spot. Whatever the dining car might offer couldn't possibly improve upon this feeling of utter peace and contentment. Somewhere in the car, a child murmurs in sleep, a soft sound that rises and falls and then fades back into silence. It's not a cry or a complaint, just the sound of a young voice speaking to dreams, and it fits perfectly into the symphony of the train, the wheels, the swaying, the gentle creaking, the whisper of air, and now this, the voice of innocent sleep. The train crests the top of the grade and begins a long, gentle descent down the other side. The motion changes subtly and becomes even smoother if that's possible. And you feel yourself sinking deeper into your seat, deeper into the blanket's warmth, deeper into that twilight state. Between waking and sleeping, the stars outside seem impossibly bright now, undimmed by any competing light. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light, and you can pick out constellations if you try. Orion the Hunter, the Big Dipper, Cassiopeia's distinctive W. But even that small effort feels like too much, and you let your eyes unfocus, let the stars become a blur of beauty, let everything soften and merge. Your last conscious thought, before sleep finally claims you completely, is one of gratitude. Gratitude for this train, for this journey, for this perfect cocoon of comfort and safety. Gratitude for the people who maintain these rails and drive this engine and watch over passengers through the night. Gratitude for the simple blessing of movement through space, of being carried toward rest, toward peace, toward Meadowbrook, and whatever dreams await you there. And then, gently, softly, as naturally as a leaf falling from a tree, you slip into sleep. Sleep on a train is different from sleep anywhere else. It's deeper in some ways, lighter in others, shaped by the constant motion and sound that continues even in unconsciousness. Your dreams, when they come, are colored by the rhythm of the rails, by the rocking of the car, by the sense of traveling through darkness toward light. You dream of floating, of being cradled in gentle arms that sway with an ancient rhythm. You dream of journeys taken long ago, of trains from childhood or from stories, of steam and brass and the romance of rail travel in an age that may have existed or may be purely imaginary. You dream of destinations both remembered and invented, places that feel utterly familiar even though you've never been there, could never go there except in dreams. In your dream, you're standing on the observation platform at the back of the train, though you never actually walked there, never left your comfortable seat. The night air rushes past you, cool and fresh, and you can see the tracks stretching behind the train, two silver ribbons disappearing into the darkness from which you've come. Stars wheel overhead in their eternal dance, and the moon keeps pace with the train, running alongside like a companion, like a friend who's chosen to travel with you for a while. The landscape in your dream is both the landscape outside your window and something more, something transformed by the alchemy of sleep. The forests are deeper, the mountains taller, the streams more musical. Every element is intensified, made more vivid, more archetypal. This is not just any forest, but the essence of forest. Not just any mountain, but the platonic ideal of mountain. Other passengers appear in your dream, but their faces shift and change. Sometimes they're people you know, sometimes strangers, sometimes characters from books you've read or movies you've seen. But they all share that same quality of peaceful rest, that same sense of being exactly where they need to be. The conductor walks through your dream car, and her uniform gleams with impossible brightness. Her silver hair shines like starlight. When she checks tickets, the paper transforms into leaves, into flower petals, into butterflies that flutter away through an open window. She smiles at you, and her smile says, everything will be all right, has always been all right, could never be anything but all right. The train in your dream takes impossible turns, climbs impossible grades, crosses bridges that span not rivers but clouds, not valleys but oceans of stars, and yet none of it feels strange or wrong. In dreams, the train can go anywhere, and you trust it completely to take you where you need to go. Time in dreams works differently, and you can't say how long you sleep, how many miles pass beneath the wheels, how many stations are left behind in the darkness. It could be minutes or hours or entire lifetimes compressed into a single night's rest. But it doesn't matter. There's no schedule here that matters, no appointment you're late for, no urgency of any kind. There's only the journey, only the traveling, only the gentle progression from here to there to somewhere beyond. At some point in your sleep, you become dimly aware of the train slowing. The rhythm of the wheels changes, decelerates, becomes more measured. In your half-waking state, you feel the train navigate a series of gentle curves, feel it settle into a slower speed. But your eyes remain closed, your body remains relaxed, and this awareness floats on the surface of your consciousness like a leaf on water, present but not demanding attention. The train glides to a stop so smoothly you barely notice, and you hear the distant sound of a station, muffled voices, the hiss of air brakes. A station somewhere in the night, a waypoint on the journey to Meadowbrook. Some passengers may be getting off here, others getting on, but you remain in your seat, wrapped in your blanket, held in the arms of sleep. The train starts moving again after a few minutes, and the motion rocks you deeper into dreams. You're vaguely aware of new passengers finding their seats, of the soft sounds of settling, but these sounds integrate seamlessly into your dreams, become part of the dream train's symphony. In another dream, you're not on the train at all, but watching it from outside, standing on a hillside under the stars. You can see the train below you, a glowing strand of light, moving through the darkness like an illuminated serpent, like a river of gold. The sound of its passage drifts up to you, musical and melancholy and beautiful. You watch it pass and know that you're both observer and passenger, both outside and inside, both here and there simultaneously, in the way that dreams allow for such impossibilities. The train enters a tunnel in your dream, and the darkness becomes absolute, total. But it's not frightening. It's the darkness of a womb, of deep earth, of the space between stars. It's a healing darkness, a restful darkness, and you sink into it gratefully. Time seems to suspend entirely in the tunnel, and you exist in a state of pure being without thought or concern or any sense of self at all. When the train emerges from the tunnel, the world outside has transformed. The landscape is no longer night, but something else. Not day exactly, but a kind of eternal twilight, soft and blue and impossibly beautiful. The trees are in bloom with flowers that glow with their own internal light, and the streams run with water that sings as it flows. This is the landscape of deep sleep, of healing rest, of the place where the mind goes to restore itself. Your breathing in sleep is so slow, so deep, that minutes pass between breaths. Your heart beats with a calm, steady rhythm that matches the wheels on the rails. Your body has surrendered completely to rest, every muscle loose, every joint relaxed, every system running at its lowest, most restorative ebb. And still the train moves on, carrying you, carrying all of you, this car full of sleepers, this train full of travelers, all bound for Meadowbrook, all carried through the night by steel and steam and the dedicated work of engineer and conductor and porter. You are safe. You are cared for. You are exactly where you should be. The deepest hours of night have arrived, those hours that exist somewhere between midnight and dawn, when the world holds its breath and even the stars seem to burn more quietly. The train continues its journey, and you continue your journey through sleep, through dreams, through the restorative darkness that heals and renews. In these hours, your sleep reaches its deepest point. Brain waves slow to their most peaceful rhythm, the delta waves that characterize the deepest stage of sleep, the stage where a true restoration happens. Your body works quietly, repairing and rebuilding, releasing hormones that heal and strengthen, consolidating memories and processing emotions from the day. Outside, the landscape has changed again. The train has descended from the mountains and is now crossing a broad plain, vast and open under the dome of stars. Occasionally, a lone farmhouse appears, its windows dark, its inhabitants long since surrendered to sleep. Fields stretch to the horizon, their crops, wheat perhaps, or corn, rustling in a breeze you cannot hear but can imagine, silver blue in the moonlight. The train passes through another small station, so small it's barely more than a platform and a shelter. A single light burns there, tended by no one you can see, burning for the sake of burning, a beacon in the darkness. The train doesn't stop, but rolls slowly through, respectfully, as if acknowledging this small outpost of human presence in the vast night. Your fellow passengers sleep on around you. The young woman next to you has shifted position slightly, her breathing so regular it seems to be orchestrated by the train itself. Across the aisle, an elderly man sleeps with his hands folded on his chest, his face peaceful, looking decades younger in repose. 2 rows back, a couple sleeps leaning against each other, their heads touching, their hands still intertwined, even in unconsciousness, a testament to a love that transcends awareness. The porter has passed through one more time, his last rounds before he too will find a quiet corner to rest until dawn. He's checked every passenger, adjusted blankets that had slipped, retrieved a teddy bear that had fallen from a child's grip, ensured that everyone is as comfortable as possible. Now, the car is left to its own devices, to the self-regulating peace of a group of people all engaged in the same essential act of rest. The train rocks gently as it takes a long, sweeping curve, and the motion is so perfectly calibrated to induce contentment that it seems intentional, as if the engineers who laid these tracks a century ago knew exactly what they were doing, knew that travelers would cross this ground in the dead of night, knew that comfort and care should be built into the very geometry of the rails. In your sleep, you're barely dreaming now. You've moved past the stage of vivid, story-like dreams into a deeper place where dreams, if they exist at all, are more like feelings than narratives, more like colors than pictures. A sense of blue, a feeling of softness, the emotional resonance of safety without any specific image attached to it. The stars wheel slowly overhead, completing their ancient circuits. Orion sinks toward the western horizon while other constellations rise in the east, harbingers of the dawn that's still hours away. The moon, having completed its arc across the sky, begins its descent, and the quality of its light changes, becomes richer, more golden, though it will be gone long before daybreak. The air inside the car has reached perfect equilibrium, not too warm, not too cool, but exactly the temperature that allows for deepest rest. The ventilation system whispers so quietly it's barely audible, circulating fresh air without creating any sense of draft or movement. Everything has been designed, whether by intention or by happy accident, to support this rest, this peace, this journey through darkness toward light. Somewhere far ahead, the engineer sits in his cabin, alert and watchful, his eyes on the rails ahead, his hands ready on the controls. He's made this run 1,000 times, knows every curve and grade, every signal and switch. He could probably do it in his sleep, but he doesn't. He remains vigilant, ensuring safe passage for all those who've placed their trust in him, all those who sleep in cars behind him, unaware of his dedication, but benefiting from it nonetheless. The train crosses another river, this one wider than the first. The bridge here is old and sturdy, built of iron and stone, and has carried trains across this water for generations. The river below moves slowly in the moonlight, headed toward some distant sea, patient as trains are patient, as time is patient, as all things that know their purpose and pursue it without haste. On the far bank, a deer stands at the water's edge, drinking. It looks up as the train passes, ears forward, eyes reflecting the train's lights for a moment. Then it returns to drinking, unbothered by the passage of this long serpent of steel and glass and sleeping humans. The wild world and the human world coexist here, each acknowledging the other, neither disturbed by the other's presence. The plain begins to give way to gentle hills again, and the train climbs and descends, like a ship on gentle swells. The motion is soothing, hypnotic, and if any passenger were to wake now, they would be lulled immediately back to sleep by this rocking, by this perfect motion that seems designed by nature itself to induce rest. Your sleep has become so deep, so complete, that you've moved beyond awareness of the body entirely. You exist now as pure consciousness, floating in a vast and gentle darkness, held and supported by something you cannot name, but trust implicitly. This is the sleep that heals, the sleep that restores, the sleep that allows the mind to process and file away the experiences of waking life. The train moves through a landscape of sleeping farms and quiet towns, through forests and across plains, always progressing, always moving forward toward Meadowbrook. The rails beneath sing their endless song, and the wheels respond in their endless rhythm. And together they create a lullaby that has no beginning and no end, that simply is, like breath, like heartbeat, like the turning of the earth itself. Hours pass, the moon sets, leaving the world to starlight alone. The darkness deepens, becomes more profound, more complete. This is the darkest hour, the hour before dawn, when night reaches its fullest expression and sleep its deepest pull. Every passenger in the car is adrift in their own private ocean of rest, each one breathing slowly, each one lost in dreams, or in that place beyond dreams where nothing exists but peace. The train passes through a small town, larger than the others, with a main street lined with shops, all closed and dark. A traffic light cycles through its colors, red, yellow, green, though no cars wait at the intersection. A dog trots down the sidewalk on some mysterious canine errand, pauses to look at the passing train, then continues on its way. In a window above a drugstore, a light burns where someone works late or cannot sleep. A tiny island of wakefulness in an ocean of slumber. And still the train rolls on, unhurried, unstoppable, as certain of its destination as the stars are of their courses. The engineer checks his watch, notes that they're running exactly on time, as they always do, as they always have. Behind him, sleeping passengers dream of arriving in Meadowbrook, though none of them could say exactly what Meadowbrook looks like, what makes it special, why they're going there. They only know they must, that something awaits them there, something peaceful and good. In your deepest sleep, there's a stirring, a subtle shift. Not waking, not yet, but a turning, like a seed turning toward the sun, even while still buried in dark earth. Some part of you senses that the journey is progressing, that miles are being covered, that the distance between here and there grows shorter with each moment. This knowledge doesn't disturb your rest, but rather deepens it, adds a quality of contentment to the peace that already fills you. The stars begin to fade, so gradually you wouldn't notice unless you were watching carefully. The sky in the east, still hours from true sunrise, begins to show the first imperceptible lightening, a darkness that's slightly less dark, a black that contains the faintest hint of navy blue. The world is preparing in its slow and patient way for the turning of night into day, for the transformation that happens every morning and yet never loses its power to amaze. But dawn is still far off. There are miles yet to travel, hours yet to sleep, dreams yet to dream. The train carries you onward through the darkness, faithful and true, a cradle of steel and wood and glass, rocking you, soothing you, carrying you toward rest, toward peace, toward Meadowbrook, and all it promises. In the deepest dark before dawn, something shifts. The quality of the night begins to change, subtly at first, in ways almost too delicate to perceive. The air feels different, tastes different, though you sleep too deeply to notice. The birds, still silent, nonetheless begin to wake in their nests and roosts, preparing for their morning chorus, though the stars still blaze overhead. The train has entered a valley, broad and fertile, following a river that glints occasionally in the starlight. This valley will lead eventually to Meadowbrook, though many miles still separate the train from its destination. The rails here run straight and true, laid down across flat land, and the train's speed increases slightly, eager now perhaps, sensing the approach of journey's end, though hours remain. Your sleep begins to lighten, rising slowly from the deepest depths toward the shallower waters of early morning rest. You don't wake, don't even come close to waking, but your dreams return, gentle and fragmentary, like pieces of colored glass through which light passes. You dream of water, of rivers and streams, of rain falling softly on leaves. You dream of green growing things, of gardens and meadows, of places where flowers bloom in profusion and the air smells sweet. You dream of home, though whether it's a home you've known or a home you're traveling toward, you cannot say, and it doesn't matter. Around you, other passengers are experiencing similar shifts, their sleep patterns cycling through familiar rhythms. A child sighs and turns over, clutching a stuffed animal closer. The elderly couple shifts slightly, adjusting their positions without waking, still connected by their clasped hands. The young woman by the window draws a deep breath and lets it out slowly, a smile touching the corners of her mouth as she dreams of something pleasant. The porter, who has been dozing in a small compartment at the end of the car, wakes quietly and checks his watch. 3 hours until Meadowbrook. He rises, stretches carefully, and begins to move through the car once more, checking on his charges with the dedication of a shepherd watching over his flock. He adjusts a blanket here, retrieves a pillow that has fallen there, ensures that everyone continues in comfort. Outside, the first birds begin to sing. You can't hear them through the glass and over the sound of the train, but they're there nonetheless. Robins and thrushes and sparrows starting the daily ritual that will build to a crescendo at dawn. They sing to establish territory, to attract mates, to celebrate the mere fact of being alive. And their songs float out across the valley, across the sleeping farms and quiet towns, across the rails where the train passes. The river beside the track grows wider, joined by tributaries that add their water to its flow. In a few hours, when the sun rises, this river will be beautiful, its surface catching and holding the light. But now, in the darkness, it's a presence felt rather than seen, a rush of water moving steadily toward the sea, patient and eternal. The train passes a dairy farm where a light burns in the barn. Farmers here keep early hours, rising long before dawn to tend their cows. And someone is already at work, though most of the world still sleeps. The train's passage doesn't disturb the work. The farmer glances up perhaps, notes the time by the train's reliable schedule, then returns to the task at hand. Life continues all around, each person and creature following their own rhythm, all of it fitting together like pieces of a vast puzzle. Your dreams begin to take on more narrative structure as your sleep lightens. You dream you're walking through a meadow. Perhaps this is Meadowbrook itself, and the grass comes up to your knees, soft and green and dotted with wild flowers. The air is warm but not hot, and a breeze carries the scent of clover and honey. In the distance, you can see mountains, their peaks catching sunlight, though where you stand is still in shade. You walk without destination or hurry, simply walking for the pleasure of movement, for the joy of being in this place, wherever it is. In your dream, you come to a stream, clear and cold, running over smooth stones. You kneel beside it and cup your hands, bringing water to your lips. It tastes of minerals and snow melt, pure and refreshing, and you drink deeply. When you look up, there are others here, people you've never met but somehow know, and they're all smiling, all at peace, all exactly where they need to be. The train takes a gentle curve, following the contour of the valley, and the motion rocks you deeper into your dream. The meadow expands, grows larger, becomes infinite. You could walk here forever and never reach the end, never grow tired, never want to be anywhere else. This is Meadowbrook, or what Meadowbrook represents. A place of eternal peace, of rest without end, of contentment without qualification. But you're not there yet. You're still on the train, still traveling, still held in the cocoon of sleep and warmth and safety. The journey isn't over. There are miles yet to cover, time yet to pass, dreams yet to dream. And that's perfectly all right. The anticipation of arrival is part of the journey itself, part of what makes travel meaningful. The sky in the east continues its slow transformation. The black becomes navy, the navy becomes indigo, and mixed within the darkness now are the first hints of color, deep purple, dark rose, the promise of light to come. The stars begin to fade, not all at once, but gradually, the brightest ones clinging to visibility while the dimmer ones surrender to the gathering dawn. The train crosses a trestle high above a gorge where a smaller river cuts through stone. The sound of the wheels changes, becomes more echoing, more resonant, and somewhere in your sleep you register this change, incorporate it into your dreams. In your dream, you're crossing a bridge, looking down at water far below, feeling perfectly safe despite the height, trusting completely in the structure that holds you. A town appears ahead, larger than the others the train has passed through this night. Lights are beginning to come on in windows as people wake to begin their days. A bakery is already glowing with warmth and activity, preparing bread and pastries for the morning customers. The smell of baking, of yeast and sugar and butter drifts across the town, though it cannot reach inside the sealed train car where you sleep. The train slows as it approaches the town station, a substantial building of brick and stone with a peaked roof and tall windows. This is a scheduled stop, one of the last before Meadowbrook, and the train glides to a gentle halt with the practiced ease of 1,000 previous stops. You stir slightly in your sleep, some part of you registering the change from motion to stillness, but you don't wake. The transition has been so smooth, so gentle, that sleep maintains its hold. Around you, other passengers also stir and settle, adjusting to the momentary pause in the journey. The platform outside is almost empty at this hour. A single passenger waits, a man in a business suit carrying a briefcase, looking tired but patient. When the conductor opens the door, he boards quietly, finding a seat in another car, not wanting to disturb the sleeping passengers here. A bag of mail is loaded, packages are transferred, and after just 5 minutes, the train begins to move again. The departure is as smooth as the arrival, a gentle acceleration that rocks you softly back into deeper sleep. The town falls behind, its lights growing dimmer, and the train returns to open country, to farmland and forest, to the patient progression toward Meadowbrook. Your dream shifts again. Now, you're in a house, though you don't recognize it. It's filled with soft light and comfortable furniture, and every room you enter feels like coming home. There are books on shelves and pictures on walls, and a fire burning in a fireplace. Though you feel no heat from it, you understand that this house exists in Meadowbrook, or that Meadowbrook is this house, or that the distinction doesn't matter. This is a place of belonging, of welcome, of arrival. In the dream house, you find a bed made up with fresh linens, a bed that looks impossibly comfortable, and you lie down in it. The moment your head touches the pillow, you fall asleep, sleeping within your sleep, dreaming within your dream. And the sensation is one of infinite peace, of rest so complete, it becomes transcendent. The sky begins to blush with color as dawn approaches. The darkness that has held the world for so many hours slowly, reluctantly, begins to release its grip. The eastern horizon glows with shades of pink and gold and amber, colors that spread upward into the sky like watercolors bleeding into wet paper. The train continues its steady progress through the valley, and the landscape that was obscured by darkness begins to reveal itself. You can see now the full beauty of this place. Rolling hills covered in grass so green it seems to glow, trees standing alone or in clusters, their branches spreading wide. Farms dot the valley, each one neat and cared for, with white fences and red barns and silos catching the first light of morning. Your sleep has risen almost to the surface now, to that place where dreams blend with awareness, where you're conscious of sleeping but haven't yet chosen to wake. You can feel the train beneath you, feel the blanket's warmth, feel the pillow's softness. But none of these sensations are urgent enough to pull you from rest. You float in a peaceful limbo, neither asleep nor awake, content to remain suspended in this in-between place. The birds are in full chorus now, their songs rising from every tree and hedge. Even through the train's windows you can sense their energy, their celebration of the new day. The world is waking, stirring, preparing to engage with light and activity once more. But you need not join it yet. You can remain here in this cocoon of comfort for as long as you wish. The sun breaks free of the horizon, a sliver of brilliant gold that grows rapidly into a half circle, then a full disk. Its light streams across the valley, turning everything it touches into something precious and beautiful. The grass sparkles with dew, the windows of distant farmhouses flash like mirrors, and the river beside the tracks becomes a ribbon of molten gold. The light reaches the train, flooding through your window, but your eyelids protect you from its brightness. You register it as a warm glow, a redness seen through closed eyes, a gentle pressure that suggests morning has come, but doesn't insist you acknowledge it. You can sleep on if you wish. The day will wait. Around you, other passengers begin to stir, not all at once, not abruptly, but gradually, naturally, each person waking in their own time. The elderly couple opens their eyes simultaneously, look at each other, and smile. The young woman stretches like a cat, arching her back, then curls up again for a few more minutes of rest. A businessman 2 rows back sits up, rubs his face, then looks out the window at the beautiful morning taking shape outside. The porter appears, moving down the aisle with quiet efficiency. He's carrying a tray now, with small cups of coffee and juice, offering them to passengers who've woken. "Good morning," he says softly to each one. "We'll be arriving in Meadowbrook in about an hour." His voice is gentle, designed not to disturb those still sleeping, and there's satisfaction in his tone, the satisfaction of a job well done, of a night successfully navigated, of passengers safely delivered to the edge of their destination. The dining car, closed during the night, is opening now. You can smell coffee brewing, bread toasting, the rich aroma of breakfast being prepared. But still, you don't wake. Don't feel compelled to rise and eat. There's time yet. There's always time. Meadowbrook will wait. The train will arrive when it arrives. There's no hurry, no rush, no reason to abandon this perfect peace before you're ready. The landscape outside grows more settled, more cultivated. There are more farms now, closer together, and small orchards where apple and cherry trees stand in neat rows. A man on a tractor waves as the train passes, and though you don't see it, you can imagine it. The friendly gesture, the acknowledgement of shared existence in this beautiful valley on this beautiful morning. The train passes through another town, larger than the last, clearly awake and active now. Cars move through streets. People walk on sidewalks carrying coffee cups and briefcases. Shops open their doors for business. The train doesn't stop here, just rolls through steadily, a visitor passing through rather than a resident, belonging to the rails and the journey rather than to any single place. Your dream has faded now, dissolved like mist in sunlight, leaving behind only a pleasant feeling, a sense that something good has happened or is about to happen. You exist in that space between dreaming and waking, that liminal zone where anything seems possible and nothing demands your attention. It's a precious space, this, one that exists only in these moments before true waking. And some part of you wants to preserve it, to stay here as long as possible. The sun climbs higher, and its light grows stronger, warmer. The morning is turning into a beautiful day, the kind of day that makes you grateful to be alive, that reminds you that the world is full of beauty if you just take time to notice it. And you will notice it soon when you wake. But not yet. Not quite yet. The conductor's voice comes over the intercom, gentle and musical. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving in Meadowbrook in approximately 45 minutes. For those who are awake, breakfast is being served in the dining car. We hope you've had a restful journey and thank you for traveling with us. The announcement ends and silence returns, broken only by the eternal rhythm of wheels on rails. 45 minutes. The journey is nearly over. Soon, you'll be stepping off the train onto the platform at Meadowbrook, carrying your bag, stretching your legs, breathing the morning air of your destination. Soon, but not yet. Not quite yet. There's still time to rest, still time to savor this feeling of being carried, of being cared for, of moving through the world without effort or concern. The young woman next to you sits up, yawns, and smiles at nothing in particular. She reaches for her bag, pulls out a bottle of water, takes a long drink. Then she settles back in her seat, content to watch the world pass by outside the window, content to let the last miles of the journey unfold at their own pace. You feel yourself rising slowly toward wakefulness, drawn by the light, by the warmth, by the sense that something awaits you. But the ascent is gradual, gentle, like a diver, rising slowly from deep water toward the surface. There's no rush, no sudden breaking through, just a slow, steady rise toward consciousness, toward the new day, toward whatever comes next. The valley has narrowed now, the hills drawing closer on either side, and the train follows the river through a landscape that grows more beautiful with every mile. The trees here are magnificent, old oaks and maples spreading their branches wide, creating canopies of green. Wildflowers bloom in profusion along the riverbanks, splashes of color against the green, and the air seems to shimmer with the promise of something wonderful just ahead. You open your eyes slowly, letting the light in gradually, letting your vision adjust. The first thing you see is the sunlight streaming through the window, warm and golden, filling the car with its glow. The second thing is the landscape outside, so beautiful it takes your breath away. The green hills, the sparkling river, the perfect blue sky above. You sit up slowly, taking your time, stretching muscles that have been still for hours. The blanket falls away, and you fold it carefully, placing it on the seat beside you. Your body feels rested, truly rested, in a way it hasn't felt in longer than you can remember. Every muscle is relaxed, every joint loose and easy. You feel renewed, restored, ready for whatever comes next. The other passengers are in various states of waking now. Some are already up and moving about, heading to the dining car or the restroom, preparing themselves for arrival. Others, like you, are just beginning to stir, moving slowly, reluctantly, leaving the comfort of sleep behind. But everyone moves with a quality of contentment, of satisfaction, as if the night's journey has given them exactly what they needed. You stand carefully, holding the seat back for balance as your legs adjust to being vertical again. You retrieve your bag from where it's rested all night at your feet, place it on the seat, and check to ensure you have everything. Then you move to the window and stand there, watching the landscape slide by, feeling the motion of the train beneath your feet, savoring these last miles of the journey. The porter appears beside you, smiling. "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" he says. "Meadowbrook is just ahead, about 20 minutes now. Would you like some coffee before we arrive?" You accept gratefully, and he disappears, returning moments later with a cup of coffee that's perfectly hot, perfectly strong, exactly what you need. You wrap your hands around the cup, feeling its warmth, and take a sip. The coffee is excellent, rich and smooth, and it completes the process of waking, bringing you fully into the morning, fully into your body, fully into the present moment. "Thank you," you say to the porter, and he nods, understanding that you're thanking him for more than just the coffee, for the whole night's journey, for the care and attention he's shown to everyone in the car. "My pleasure," he says simply, and moves on to serve others. The train rounds a curve, and suddenly you can see ahead, can see where the valley opens up into a broad plain, can see buildings in the distance, can see the spire of a church reaching toward the sky. Meadowbrook, your destination, the place you've been traveling toward all through the night. The sight of it triggers something in you, excitement, perhaps, or anticipation, or simply the satisfaction of seeing a journey near its end. You press closer to the window, watching as the town gradually takes shape, as individual buildings become visible, as streets and houses and parks reveal themselves. Meadowbrook is beautiful, even from this distance. Even before you've set foot in it, you can see that. It sits nestled in the valley like a jewel in a setting, surrounded by green hills and clear streams, blessed with morning sunlight that makes everything glow. The buildings are a mix of old and new, all of them well maintained and cared for, painted in soft colors that harmonize with the landscape. Trees line the streets, their branches creating cool shade. Gardens bloom everywhere you look. The train slows as it approaches the town, the engineer easing off the speed with practiced skill, allowing passengers time to see where they're arriving, time to prepare themselves for the transition from journey to destination. The rails here run straight through the center of town, and you can see people on the sidewalks going about their morning activities, pausing to wave at the train as it passes. A school appears on the right, its playground already filled with children at recess, their shouts and laughter almost audible even through the train's glass. A park spreads out on the left, with walking paths and flower beds and a gazebo where someone sits playing a guitar. Everything looks peaceful, orderly, welcoming, a place where life moves at a comfortable pace, where people take time to notice beauty, to connect with neighbors, to simply be. The conductor's voice comes over the intercom one last time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now arriving in Meadowbrook, our final destination. Please make sure you have all your belongings. On behalf of the entire crew, thank you for traveling with us, and we hope you've had a restful journey. Welcome to Meadowbrook. The train glides into the station, and the building that appears outside your window is beautiful, a grand structure of stone and wood with a peaked roof and tall windows, flower boxes overflowing with blooms. The platform is clean and well-maintained, with benches and old-fashioned lampposts and hanging baskets full of trailing flowers. The train comes to a stop so smoothly you barely feel it, the engineer's skill evident in this final maneuver. For a moment, everything is still. The train has stopped, but no one has moved yet. And there's a quality of suspension, of pause, as if everyone is savoring this last moment of the journey before it officially ends. Then the spell breaks. Passengers begin to gather their things, to put on shoes, to fold blankets, and adjust clothes. The conductor appears at the end of the car, opening the door, letting in the morning air, fresh and clean, and smelling of flowers and coffee and new beginnings. You shoulder your bag and join the line of passengers moving toward the exit. Everyone moves slowly, unhurried, still wrapped in the peaceful cocoon of the journey. As you pass the conductor, she meets your eyes and smiles. "Welcome home," she says, though you've never been to Meadowbrook before. But somehow her words feel right, feel true. You step down from the train onto the platform, and the first thing you notice is the warmth of the sun on your face. The second is the birdsong filling the air. And the third is the feeling of solidity beneath your feet after so many hours of motion. You stand there for a moment, letting your body adjust, letting yourself arrive fully in this place. Around you, other passengers are having similar moments, standing still, breathing deeply, looking around with expressions of wonder and contentment. The elderly couple stands hand in hand, smiling at the beautiful station. The young woman tilts her face toward the sun, eyes closed, clearly savoring the warmth. A businessman sets down his briefcase and simply stands there, letting his shoulders drop, letting tension visibly drain from his body. The station building beckons, its door open wide, revealing an interior that looks as warm and welcoming as the exterior promised. But you're not in a hurry to go inside. You want to stand here for a moment longer on this platform, in this sunlight, breathing this air, marking the transition from journey to arrival, from sleeping to waking, from night to day. The train sits behind you, steam rising from its undercarriage, its engine ticking as it cools. It looks tired but satisfied, like a horse that's run a good race, like a job well done. Soon it will rest, be serviced and cleaned, and then it will make the journey again, carrying a new group of travelers through the night, toward morning, toward peace, toward Meadowbrook, or some other destination where rest can be found. But that's later. That's for other travelers, other journeys. For now, you're here. You've arrived. The night's journey is complete, and the day stretches before you, full of possibility and promise. You take a deep breath, let it out slowly, and smile. You're rested. You're refreshed. You're ready for whatever comes next. You've been carried through the darkness on the rhythm of the rails. You've slept deeply and peacefully. You've dreamed gentle dreams. And now you've arrived in a place that feels like it's been waiting for you all along. Welcome to Meadowbrook. Welcome to the morning. Welcome to rest, to peace, to the gift of a new day after a night of perfect sleep. The journey is complete. You have arrived. And now, dear listener, as this story ends, may you find yourself drifting into the same deep, peaceful rest that our traveler found on the train. May your sleep be as gentle as the rocking of the cars, as deep as the darkest hour of night, as restorative as the journey to Meadowbrook. Let the rhythm of the rails carry you into dreams. Let the motion lull you into peace. And know that when morning comes, you too will awaken refreshed, renewed, and ready for whatever the new day brings. Sleep well. Rest deeply. Safe travels through the night. Good night.